All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi Stadium from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er recap of day number 11 from training camp. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, day 11 of training camp here today. Some of the highlights and lowlights for practice. Patrick Taylor had a fumble. Rock Ya-Sin, the corner, is playing really well in this camp. He had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Really nice play by Rock Ya-Sin. We saw Matt Breida out here for the first time today. Breida doesn't look quite as quick as he did in his younger days, but he looked good. Elijah Mitchell was seen on the sidelines. He's obviously got an injury that's keeping him out of practice, so the Niners, with the injuries to Guerendo with the hamstring and the calf strain for CMC, and Elijah Mitchell, being on the sidelines, needed an extra back, and so they added Matt Breida. And Breida's interesting. He's got speed. He knows this offense. It'll be interesting to see if he can make this team. There was a couple interesting moments. That one, just the low light. Josh Dobbs had this one pass to Cam Latu that hit the ground like 4 feet in front of Latu, and I'm looking at Dobbs' throw and I'm going, what is Dobbs doing? At times Dobbs looks really, really bad as far as his accuracy. As far as highlights, Deommodore Lenoir had a phenomenal interception today. I mean, Lenoir just continues to play great football. He's primed for a huge year. I think this is probably his final year with the Niners because they probably won't be able to afford him at the end of the year. He is looking good in every one of these practices. Cody Schrader continues to look good. The young running back from Missouri, he's just solid. He's solid in every phase, and you can tell he's a popular player among his teammates. Fred Warner had a forced fumble today. D. Winters had a couple of good run stuffs where he looked really, really solid against the run. To me, if there was an MVP of today's practice, it would be the rookie linebacker Tatum Bethune from Florida State. Bethune he's a hammer, man. This guy will absolutely hit you. He had a big hit on Braden Willis. He had a huge hit at the end of practice. I don't know, I couldn't remember who it was on, and I forgot to write it down. But man, Tatum Bethune will hit you. Now, I don't know if he can cover. I don't know if he can run. I don't know if he can play the pass game that you have to be able to play as far as pass coverage as a linebacker in this league. I don't know if he runs well enough, but man, it's just a pure hitter as a middle linebacker who can just absolutely hit. He's impressive. And I thought today was his best day. Couple other things that stood out. CMC, one news and note, CMC is out for the remainder of the preseason. He's out several weeks. He's got a calf strain, and that's part of the reason Breida's here as well. So expect CMC not to play any downs in the preseason, and he may not be there week 1 against the Jets. Several weeks, it's a calf strain. They don't want it to be a tear, so they're taking precautions. Malik Turner was placed on IR today to create room, a roster spot to add Matt Breida. And then Ian Rappaport has reported today that the Pittsburgh Steelers are still in trade talks with Brandon Aiyuk. And of course, that's the big story. What's going to happen with Aiyuk? We don't know yet. From what we've been told, it sounds like the 49ers are offering $26 million. It sounds like the Browns are offering $28 million. And it sounds like the Patriots are offering $30 million. The Patriots and the Browns have already satisfied the 49ers as far as what a trade compensation package would look like coming to the Niners for Aiyuk. But I don't think Aiyuk wants to play in New England because that's the equivalent today of NFL Siberia. The Patriots aren't going to be good for a while, and they got a rookie quarterback, and they're in a tough division, and he could go there and never make the playoffs the rest of his career. So, even though they're offering the most money, do you want to go there? Now, what are the Patriots offering the Niners? It's believed to be Kendrick Bourne and maybe a second-round pick. That second-round pick's attractive because it could be the first pick of the second round. The Patriots are that bad. Kendrick Bourne, though, is older. He's coming off an ACL injury. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's a major downgrade. Going from Brandon Aiyuk to Kendrick Bourne. Now, somebody said maybe Matt Judon could be in the mix as well, and part of that deal. Judon would definitely fill a need for the Niners, and I could see the Niners wanting Judon. Why? Because Drake Jackson may not give them anything. Robert Beal, they don't know. They have 3 good defensive ends, and they need 5. And they haven't even played any games yet. There haven't even been any injuries. So they have no depth at all to speak of, and they're probably a little thin at defensive end. They could use a Matt Judon. So if the package was Kendrick Bourne and Matt Judon and a second-round pick, that would probably satisfy the 49ers, is my guess. Now, the Cleveland trade, they're saying is going to be Amari Cooper and maybe their second-round pick. Now, they're a better team than New England. They could pick in the 20s. Their second-round pick could be 20 picks, 25 picks further down the board. But you get Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper is a far better player this year than Kendrick Bourne. Amari Cooper, you could make an argument, is comparable in some ways to Brandon Aiyuk. He's older, but he's a great route runner, terrific ball skills. He's a very good NFL receiver. He's a better receiver than Kendrick Bourne. So, but then does Brandon want to play in Cleveland? Cleveland, Ohio. There's not a lot of success, not a lot of track record of success there. I don't know that you can depend on Deshaun Watson to give you a full year. After that, it's Jameis Winston and DTR. And, you could have gone from Brock Purdy, who's a borderline MVP candidate, to, Dominic Thompson Robinson, if you're Aiyuk. So you got to be real careful about, does he okay a deal to Cleveland? But I think Cleveland is probably the most, the fans are going to complain no matter what. If you get Bourne and Judon and a second, they might be okay with that. Maybe if you got Amari Cooper in a second, maybe they'd be okay with that. And then there's the, is Aiyuk have leverage here? What if he says, I'm not going to sign in New England. I'm not going to sign in Cleveland. I want to go to Pittsburgh. Well, I would imagine the Pittsburgh trade could be James Daniels and Nick Herbig or something like that, maybe, or James Daniels and an edge rusher, or maybe James Daniels and I've heard Mason McCormick. I've heard James Daniels. James Daniels makes a lot of sense. Maybe James Daniels in a second-round pick. Maybe, something like that. James Daniels, Nick Herbig in a second-round pick. Something like that. Ultimately, if you said to me, what do I think is ultimately going to happen? The more I think about it, the more I think he's probably going to force his way to the Steelers, and the Niners will probably have to take James Daniels, probably some other player, and some pick from the Steelers. And that would be my guess of how this thing is going to wrap up. I do expect it will wrap up in the next couple days. I think Aiyuk is going to push for the Steelers, and I think ultimately the Steelers will cave to the Niners' demands for whatever they're asking for trade-wise, and I think Aiyuk's going to be a Steeler, and I think the Niners are going to take whatever compensation they get from the Steelers and get down the road. There will be a lot of criticism, for sure, and a lot of it will be warranted because the Niners drafted Brandon Aiyuk in the first round, and he's 26, and he's about to play his best football, and they're going to wind up trading him for, 75 cents on the dollar, and that's not good. That's not good at all. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.